So the question, first heart transplant procedure was done by. So the answer to this question is Christian Bernard, option C. So we all know heart transplant is surgically removing the diseased heart and replacing it with healthy one from donor. So this was first performed in 1967 by Christian Bernard. Unfortunately, the patient survived for only 18 days. But still, this was a major historical event in medical field. Now going to the first option, William Harvey. William Harvey studied about blood circulation and he is called as the father of blood circulation. So this question is about heart and circulation. If you study this diagram properly, you can answer a lot of questions. So coming to the diagrammatic representation of the heart. So we do have 4 chambers in the heart. The upper 2 chambers are called the atrium or auricles. The lower 2 are called the ventricles. So we have a right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle and left ventricle. Okay. So see this diagram. So we have the right atrium, the left atrium, right ventricle and left ventricle. So before you need to know about the difference between oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood or pure blood contains more of oxygen and deoxygenated blood or impure blood contains more of carbon dioxide. So the difference between artery and vein. Artery carry blood away from the heart and veins carry blood towards the heart. Now see this diagram. So initially the blood or the impure blood, which is deoxygenated blood, coming from the different organs will pass through the venous system and eventually it will reach the vena cava. So inferior, we have an inferior vena cava and superior vena cava. So this inferior vena cava is the largest vein in the human body, inferior vena cava. So this impure or deoxygenated blood, which is coming from different organs, is pumped to the right atrium. So we can see the blood moving and going to the right atrium. From the right atrium, it goes to the right ventricle. Okay, here we have a valve. It is called the tricuspid valve. These are 3 cusps. And from there, it goes to the right ventricle. And from the right ventricle, it goes to the pulmonary artery. So we have studied that artery carries blood away from the heart and veins carry blood towards the heart. So pulmonary artery carries blood away from the heart. But see the difference. Always artery carries pure blood, right? But here pulmonary artery is an exception. Pulmonary artery carry impure or the deoxygenated blood. Okay. So we have got an exception. So this is a question for you. Now this pulmonary artery comes to the lungs. So from the lungs, as we all know, we inspire oxygen and we will breathe out carbon dioxide. So during inspiration, oxygen is taken out and during expiration, carbon dioxide is released. So this oxygen we have this carbon dioxide from the venous blood is taken outside and then our oxygen is added to the blood. That means that blood has become oxygenated blood. So I have given a red color. So venous or deoxygenated blood I have given blue color. So this oxygenated blood goes to the pulmonary vein. Okay. And then this travels to the left side of the heart, left atrium. And this oxygenated blood is then taken to the left atrium. Okay. And from there it goes to the left ventricle and this valve is called the mitral valve. So this is another question, mitral valve. And from the mitral valve it goes to the ventricles. So left ventricle has thick walls, so it pumps the blood to the aorta or the artery. This is the largest artery of the body, aorta. So aorta receives blood from the left ventricle and then it supplies to different parts of the body, the different organs. So this is basically heart and circulation. So this right side is called systemic circulation. So this is the systemic circulation, and the left side, which involves the lungs, the pulmonary system, is called the pulmonary circulation. So both these contribute to the circulatory system of the body. So now coming to this question, now this is the right side and this is the left side. The upper two chambers are the atrium or the auricles. We can depict as A, and below is the ventricles, V. So what is this? This is right atrium, this is left atrium, this is right ventricle, and this is left ventricle. So 1 is right atrium, 2 is right ventricle, 3 is left atrium, and 4 is left ventricle. Okay. So the question is, when the right ventricle contracts, blood is pumped out to. So we can draw the diagram. This is the right atrium, this is the left atrium. This is the right ventricle and this is the left ventricle. So when the right ventricle contracts, we all know the right side is the pulmonary circulation. Okay. So this is the which carry blood away from the heart is artery, and this is the pulmonary circulation. So this is called pulmonary artery. And if it is from the left ventricle, we all know it's the left side, it is the aorta. Okay. And from the lungs, which the left atrium receives blood from the lungs by pulmonary vein, and right atrium receives blood from all parts of the body by vena cava. So the answer to this question is right ventricle is pulmonary artery, option C. Which of the following arteries does not carry oxygenated blood? So we have studied that arteries carry oxygenated or pure blood and veins carry deoxygenated or impure blood. And arteries carry blood away from the heart and veins carry blood towards the heart. There is only one exception for this, that artery always carry blood away from the heart, but it always does not carry pure blood, because the pulmonary artery, which is the artery comes from which carries blood away from the heart, carries impure or deoxygenated blood. So this pulmonary circulation is always opposite to this, and pulmonary vein carries pure blood towards the heart. So the exception or the answer to this question is pulmonary artery. Which organ of the body is called blood bank? So the answer to this question is option C, spleen. So spleen is the reservoir of blood and it is called blood bank. So any injury to the spleen means there will be a lot of bleeding. The study of blood circulatory system is called. So angiology is the answer to this question. Angiology is about the study of the blood circulation and the lymphatic system. So what is cardiology? It is study of heart and its disorders. Hematology is study of blood vessels and its disorders. And osteology is study of bones. Which of the following parts of the body is called heart's pacemaker? Answer to this question is sinus node, option C. So this sinus node generates impulses, that is electrical impulses, and that is the reason why there is a normal rhythm and rate in heart rate. So the pacemaker or the important structure is the sinus node in regulating the rhythm and rate of the heart. Which one of the following is not a part of cardiovascular system? Heart, blood and blood vessels are part of cardiovascular system, and neurons and related structures are part of nervous system. So the answer is option D, neurons. Mitral valve separates dash and dash chambers of heart. So we will draw the diagram of heart. Okay. So this is the right atrium, this is the left atrium, this is the right ventricle, and this is the left ventricle. So between the right and atria and right ventricle we have the tricuspid valve. It has three cusps, tricuspid. Between the left atria and left ventricle, we have the bicuspid valve. Bicuspid. And from the right ventricle, we have the pulmonary valve. Pulmonary valve. And left ventricle, we have the aortic valve. This bicuspid valve is also called the mitral valve. Mitral valve. So coming to the answer, mitral valve separates the left atria and the left ventricle. So option B is the right answer. Identify the correct statements. Arteries carry blood away from your heart. That is a right statement. Okay. Next, veins carry blood back towards the heart. That is also a right statement. Capillaries connect arteries and veins. So if you see the structure of arteries and veins, we have the arteries here which divide into small arteries. It's called arterioles. Arterioles. Similarly, the blood is received by veins, right? So these have small veins called venules. Venules. So in between these arteries and veins, another system of small vessels are present. This is very minute micro vessels, and these are called the capillaries. Capillaries. So the fourth statement, veins are the smallest blood vessels, that is a wrong statement because capillaries are the smallest things. So option 1 is correct, 2 is correct, 3 is correct. That is 1, 2 and 3. Option D is the right answer. Which one of the following is not a function of vein? So this question is basically based on the anatomy of veins. So these veins have a lot of one-way valves. The function of this one-way valves is it will allow the blood flow only in one direction. And if at all the blood comes back, then this valve get closed. That means the blood cannot come back. So it allows unidirectional flow. So this blood flow only in one direction. So the options to this question is they carry blood back to the heart. We studied artery carries blood from the heart towards the organs, and from these organs the deoxygenated blood is carried towards the heart by veins. So that statement is correct. They have one-way valves which prevent the blood from flowing backwards. Okay, right now we studied about that. So that is also correct. They carry blood that is high in carbon dioxide, known as deoxygenated blood. Yes, that's also right. That means all the above are correct. So all these statements are correct. We will tick D option. So which of the following is not a heart disease? So unstable angina affects the heart. Arrhythmia is a problem to the rhythm of the heart. So it is also a heart problem. Coronary artery disease is due to a problem in the coronary vessels which is supplying the heart. Now what is this meningitis? So meningitis is an inflammation of the tissues surrounding the brain and spinal cord due to some infection. So this meningitis is related to the brain and spinal cord. So the answer to this question is option D, meningitis. Pulmonary artery carries blood from dash to dash. So we will draw the diagram of the heart. This is the right atrium. This is the left atrium. This is the right ventricle. This is the left ventricle. So pulmonary artery carries blood from the right ventricle to we have the lungs here. So this is the pulmonary circulation to the left atrium. So pulmonary artery, this is the pulmonary artery and this is the pulmonary vein. So pulmonary artery carries blood from right ventricle to the lungs. So the answer is right ventricle to the lungs, option C. So which of the following has a two-chambered heart? Mammals and birds. Mammals and birds have four-chambered heart. Amphibians have three-chambered heart. Fish has only two-chambered heart. So answer to this question is fish, option D.